6 former X Factor contestants make bullying allegations against the show.
Could we have a bigger stage this year?
You hurt me, and I cried.
I don't think you're capable of doing anything better to have any chance at all of winning this competition.
I think you're possibly the worst singer in the world.
Utterly horrendous.
You really never liked this guy. So was it the song?
Excuse me.
Or you just don't like Sanjaya?
Who rattled your cage?
I'm just...
Simon Cowell is a monster in the entertainment industry. From a young age, he has been threatening people and committing crimes. He climbed his way into power through music and has tortured some of your favorite artists through his record label. Simon Cowell is problematic and he needs to be stopped. So let's get into it. Simon Cowell has been a problematic man in entertainment for a long time. I mean, his own artist spoke out against his entertainment management firm and claimed that they were treated like slaves. Nonetheless, Simon Cowell is most known for his role on American Idol, so I think we should start off this video by talking about Manassas, because he was so incredibly rude to her that she deserves justice. You guys know American Idol is an older show, and the media hasn't been so forgiving when it comes to plus size people. And Simon Cowell demonstrates how bad it was back in the 2000s because he was making fun of this sweet woman and how she was maybe a little heavier. I really feel like when it comes to making fun of someone's physical appearance, that's like the lowest you can go. It just shows how unwitty you are if you have to go to that opposed to trying to challenge them in any other way.
Even though the judges got what they wanted, Simon still had to get in one last typical comment.
Could we have a bigger stage this year?
Oh, come on.
Yes, baby, this one right here is going to Hollywood.
She's got like a Frenchie.
Forget
power.
Frenchy, she's like France.
Honestly, shout out to Paula Abdul for slapping him and showing him that that was not okay to say. And I guess Manassas at some point came back into the room once she reached the top 24, and she went on to tell Simon how she really felt. Simon did apologize and they did make amends, but either way, it just shows how evil some of his comments can be and how they really can affect people, especially when he has the platform of television to go and project this to the entire world.
Well, you didn't need a bigger stage, but you could have got a bigger chair. Simon, a lot of people want me to say a lot of things to you. But this is what I want to say to you, is that yes, you hurt me and I cried and it was painful. It really was. But I want you to know that I've forgiven you and that you don't need someone to apologize in order to forgive somebody. And I figured that if Jesus could die so that all of my wrongs could be forgiven, I can certainly extend that same grace to you. So I just wanted you to know.
Amen.
Manassas, I'm humbled. Come here, give me a kiss.
Yeah.
Come here.
Well put.
Give me a kiss. I'm just so appalling, aren't I?
You are, but...
At least Simon knows that he can be pushing it too far sometimes, but this doesn't just happen on American Idol. He's also found himself in some trouble for how he treats some of the contestants on the show X Factor, and at one point he was sued for it. In 2021, a former contestant named Katie, who took part in the 2010 series of the show, revealed that she had to go to therapy for PTSD after suffering panic attacks and thoughts after being labeled the most hated contestant of the series. She actually sued Simon Cowell and his record company, saying that she was only paid £1 for appearing on the live shows of the competition. That structure is manipulative and coercion at its finest. Company A, who's in a position of power, seeks person B, who is vulnerable. Company A says that this is the biggest opportunity of your life, and without it, you'll be nothing. That is the absolute pinnacle of where it all goes wrong. There are so many of us who have been strapped in, and it's not fair. There was a huge imbalance of power.
You got your break on the X Factor. Did it change your life, Katie, for the better or the worse?
Oh my gosh. I just want to make a couple of amendments to that narrative, is that I didn't get my break on the X Factor. If anything, it was, unfortunately and very sadly, something that was quite destructive. And that's putting it politely. I speak as much as I can, in a way that I can, about my experience on there, uncovering and rediscovering information. Now that I understand contract law, I'm able to re-look through things and decipher what was really absolutely beyond imaginably unacceptable, and the mistreatment of and lack of duty of care to not only myself, but there were minors on the show at the time. So much coercion, manipulation, things that happened that, you know, I can only but speak for myself, and I'll just say that off the bat. Cool. You know, when faced with such fear of the outside world, when, you know, you would only but, I guess, be told to trust the people that were around you.
I can totally see Simon and his company allegedly putting someone in a position where they're signing contracts and they don't really understand their rights, which is super scary in the entertainment industry because you're really selling yourself to an agency or a firm, a management firm. And if you don't do what they say, then you're over. You can't go and just like be an independent artist. And Simon is convincing, but he's not right. There are so many moments where he's been so wrong. For example, Jennifer Hudson is an EGOT holder, which means she was won an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a... what's the T one? Maybe it's for Broadway. Either way, Simon Cowell was not a fan and didn't see her really going further into competition. But clearly he doesn't know what he's talking about, and his delivery is pretty harsh. I mean, if she was super vulnerable, this could have been the end of her career because he's absolutely destroying her on television.
Let me sum this up for you.
Oh, please.
I think you're out of your depth in this competition.
What?
I think you're out of your depth.
You must be kidding.
Because I think there are better singers and performers in the 11 people left. That's what it is. That's why you found it difficult to say anything.
Wrong.
That's not what I'm
You think she can't sing?
Look, Randy. Don't be facetious.
No, can't she sing?
She can sing. The problem is there are people better than her, and I don't think you're capable of doing anything better to have any chance at all of winning this competition.
But
Jennifer.
guess what?
I don't think that's
Guess what? You know,
she can
he's
sing
right
her butt
about
off.
one thing. There may be some people better, but out of the 11, there's 5 good people, and you're one of them.
Absolutely.
Clearly, Simon doesn't know everything because she went on to be one of the most successful stars to ever appear on one of his shows. But going back to X Factor, because it seems like he's super comfortable in this environment, and that's where a lot of these people have spoken out from. I think because directly X Factor winners go to his management firm, and they claim that they're treated like slaves there. John and Edward Grimes actually went onto Twitter claiming that they were mishandled and mistreated on the show. Quote, the biggest regret in life was not telling the judges on X Factor to F off. Every contestant on the X Factor was a slave to the show and got paid $0 while they made millions. Quote, Simon Cowell thinks he's the mafia leader of the music industry when in reality, he's nothing but a bad facelift. Oh, they didn't have to compare him like that. Let's talk a little bit more about these guys because they have a lot to share about Simon. They allege that artists on the show and under Simon's record label are unable to speak freely and are blacklisted when they do so. They're isolated from their families and they're watched and reported on by security. They also claim that the judges do not mentor the contestants like they try to make it seem like on the show, when in reality they're not really doing anything with them besides filming the show. There's no like special relationship or tips that the judges are giving these contestants. It looks like they did work on some music together and the music was released. So these boys did put out music through Simon's record label, but when they spoke out against Simon, he deleted their songs and just their entire music library. So they had nothing else online on streaming for people to listen to.
So much is happening and I'm so confused, so we're gonna talk through it. Jedward was an act on the X Factor in 2009, and today they posted a bunch to Twitter about contracts, Simon Cowell, and being a slave to the show. I scrolled through so you can click and pause and read if you want. Well, Louis just unfollowed them. He also just tweeted to the Snuts, a Scottish band, congratulating them on their album that's rising through the charts. Usually when he shouts someone else out, there's something there, and someone found in one of their songs, these lyrics. There's just a lot of tension ramping up between One Direction, Simon Cowell, X Factor, contracts, and I don't know why now.
You guys know that the former One Direction members aren't fans of Simon Cowell. And if you guys don't know that story, definitely go and check out my video about One Direction and how they came about. Another band, Fifth Harmony, who we all know so well, also was managed by Simon and his record label. And actually an audio tape leaked of Lauren, a member, talking to Allie about the label, saying that they are making decisions on a regular basis to F us over, to make us literal slaves, like literally slaves, Allie, end quote. She also said, they sell you this present of rainbows and butterflies, and as a 16-year-old, that's what I bought. It's why I did X Factor and why I ended up in a group. She also claims that working with this label has led to awful mental health situations and pain on a lot of levels. Another former contestant named Rebecca was on the show and signed with Simon's label. She's a soul singer. She actually spoke to the Secretary of State for Digital, Culture, Media, and Sport to debate the musicians' welfare and treatment. Quote, people have warned me for years about doing this or have encouraged me not to speak out. And unfortunately, I realized that my career may once again be affected by speaking out. However, enough is enough, and musicians, artists, creatives need change. We need an immediate inquiry to take place to change the way that people are allowed to operate in this industry. And of course, she's low-key dragging Simon and his label because that's who has given her this career. That's her experience and why she's out here speaking to the Secretary of State.
No more assaulting women in hotel rooms, no more covering up assault for your seedy friends, no more grooming 17-year-old boys who are confused about their sexuality, and no more taking people out of circulation as if they are cattle. She then tweets, I was once told that Aiden was taken out of circulation, which meant he no longer was allowed to get work, etc. because they wanted space for another. It's in reply to Jedward's tweet, so pause to read. Aiden is Aiden Grimshaw, and he was also an X Factor contestant. So she's saying basically they had blacklisted him, which we spoke about. Simon Cowell may have blacklisted Jessie J. And then she speaks about how she's met with the government and is fighting for artists' welfare.
So it's not a good look for Simon that all of these artists under his label are speaking out and talking about how terrible he really is. And I think we can see how terrible he is just from him on television. I mean, remember the time that he told this guy Keith that he was the worst singer in the world? And while I get it, I mean, Simon is here to be the hard judge. Paula's there to be nice. Randy's there to be, likable and friendly. And Simon is there to give us some good TV. But sometimes it is at someone's expense, and it's really hard to watch how cringe it all is.
I wanna dance with somebody who loves me.
Keith.
Yeah?
Last year I described someone as being the worst singer in America. I think you're possibly the worst singer in the world, based on that performance. And I'm absolutely serious. I've never, ever heard anything like that in my life. Ever. No, but Keith, you've got to hear yourself to believe it. There is nobody on this planet who sings like you. Really.
You got to be kidding me.
I'm being absolutely serious. I mean, are you serious?
I don't think I'm the best singer in the world, but hey, I think I'm a good singer.
I know for sure there is no one in this country who sings like you. I guarantee there is no one on this planet who sounds like you. Trust me on this. You should never, ever, ever plan on a career in singing.
So he's a tough critic. And honestly, the entire show is just kind of problematic for even putting these people up there on stage, even though they know they're going to be torn apart. Well, at some point, Simon's past was catching up with him because his company was hit by a multi-million-dollar lawsuit from former X Factor contestants who say appearing on the talent show was a horrific experience. Now, it looks like a bunch of these contestants got together to file this lawsuit for bullying, mistreatment, and neglect. One person was quoted saying, "Being on the show was a horrific experience. We've been suffering for years as a result. It's awful." They continued, "We lost a lot of money from having periods of our lives not making money to deal with the trauma still ingrained from the show. It will be a $1 million plus case. It's about justice, being compensated for the time and money we spent with medical professionals trying to live normal lives again."
Simon Cowell's company Psycho is set to face a $1 million lawsuit as 6 former X Factor contestants make bullying allegations against the show. Here, a group of former X Factor contestants are reportedly planning a £1 million bullying lawsuit against Simon Cowell's company Psycho 5 solo acts and a group are said to be intending to sue the label for alleged bullying, mistreatment and neglect as a result of going on the X Factor. They claim to have evidence to support their allegations, including emails, recordings and psychological assessments. It is reported that the claimants have approached lawyers and plan to bring the case over the coming months. They then had to get in that Simon had no idea this was going on. Absolute bullshit. That man had one of the most powerful music labels in the world at one point. There's no way that man did not know all the shit that was going on with it.
We learned a lot from this lawsuit. For example, one contestant said that your mental well-being was of no one's interest. We were just pawns in their game. When I entered the show, I was confident, ambitious, and charismatic. Now I'm extremely untrusting, emotional, nervous, and full of anxiety. Honestly, it makes sense. If you look at some of these terrible clips from X Factor, they have millions and hundreds of millions of views on YouTube. So a lot of people see this and then you're known by that, that moment, those 2 minutes on the television show where they probably weren't your best. Of course, his firm and the show, they all denied this and claimed that they didn't even hear about this lawsuit. So was it actually filed, or are they trying to ignore the facts? One fact about Simon is that if he doesn't like someone, he never will like them. He won't give them a chance, and it makes me question, like, what about these people doesn't he like? I mean, there's definitely a certain type of person that just irks him and that he doesn't want to watch them succeed. Like back in 2007, he did not like Sanjaya. I actually remember seeing this play out on TV because when I was a little kid, I'd be like so excited to go and watch American Idol. And at one point, this guy was berated by Simon Cowell because he just never really liked him in general. And actually at one point, Ryan Seacrest of all people started to step in and try to de-escalate it all. You're gonna watch Simon Cowell tell Ryan Seacrest to shut up.
Utterly horrendous. I'm being serious. I'm being serious. Honestly, it was as bad as anything we see at the beginning of American Idol. You know, where all the
Simon
singers come on.
Simon. Even if it wasn't his best performance, you really never liked this guy. So was it the song?
Excuse me.
Or you just don't like Sanjaya?
Who rattled your cage? This is...
Well, I've made it about all of us.
To the left. Come over here, Sanjaya.
But Paula, if he came out and he nailed it, would Simon ever...
What I was trying to
like
say is I know this has been funny for a while, but based on the fact that we are supposed to be finding an American Idol, it was hideous.
Right.
I mean, the ridiculous choice of song.
Randy, if Sanjaya nailed it, would Simon ever really like it from this?
I liked him last week, Big Mouth.
Simon does have this mentality where he's just like above everyone, which I've never been a fan of that type of character. Ex-America's Got Talent judge Gabrielle Union claims that Simon Cowell doesn't believe the rules apply to him. Following her exit from the show, it was revealed that Gabrielle had filed a complaint against the network and the companies that Simon Cowell worked with because of allegations of racism and sexism on set. She claimed that the TV mogul doesn't believe that the rules apply to him. Day one, Simon Cowell is smoking cigarettes inside. I worked a long time and I worked with a lot of kinds of people. I've never experienced that. Gabrielle claims that she actually has a severe allergy to cigarette smoke. So it's tough having a boss who doesn't follow the rules because then people like herself are going to suffer. She says that he does it in front of everyone, in front of the networks, in front of his record label, and nobody cares that Simon's exposing smoke to everyone on day one. So that was her first day experience.
Day one, Simon Cowell is smoking cigarettes inside. When your boss, the person who has the ability to determine who gets opportunities and who doesn't believe that the law applies to him or the rules apply to him, and he does it in full view of NBC and Fremantle and Psycho, and no one cares. Simon Cowell exposing all of these employees to secondhand smoke. That's day one. That's within the first hour.
Gabrielle did not enjoy her time on the show. Her complaint detailed allegations of insensitivity and sexism on set, while also making the claim that the NBC chairman, Paul, threatened Gabrielle through her agent in regards to her speaking out against racism on set. I think I remember this story coming out, and there was a problem with like her hairstyles. Like they were commenting on her certain hairstyles, whether she can do a certain, look or not, which is just kind of like bizarre that they are controlling that. But NBC claims that through the investigation process, it has been revealed that no one associated with the show made any insensitive or derogatory remarks about Gabrielle's appearance, and neither race or gender was a contributing factor in the advancement or elimination of contestants at any time.
While the investigation has demonstrated an overall culture of diversity, it has also highlighted some areas in which reporting process could be improved. Through the investigation process, it has been revealed that no one associated with the show made any insensitive or derogatory remarks about Miss Union's appearance, and that neither race nor gender was a contributing factor in the advancement or elimination of contestants at any time. The investigation also showed that the concerns raised by Miss Union had no bearing on the decision not to exercise the option on her contract.
Gabrielle did put out a statement on Twitter claiming that she did have a 5-hour-long meeting, I'm assuming with executives, trying to make everything better, so maybe they improved, but I mean, I doubt it. It does sound like Simon Cowell kind of acts like a dictator. I mean, one article wrote that Simon Cowell has rubbed a lot of people the wrong way at AGT, America's Got Talent, but he's rarely told no. Everything goes by him, and he's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Simon runs the show, and as long as he's there, he will continue to do so. Radio host Howard Stern had a lot to say about Simon Cowell and the situation with Gabrielle, and he was quoted saying, "How is it that Simon Cowell has orchestrated this? He sets it up that the men stay no matter how ugly they are, no matter how old they are, no matter how fat they are, no matter how talentless they are. But what he manages to do on all of his shows is that he constantly replaces the hot chicks with hotter chicks and younger chicks, which is so obvious." Talking about going through a bunch of different, I guess, female hosts or judges, and the men, like himself, no matter how ugly and untalented he is, he stays around. Maybe Simon is a little bit entitled, a little bit egotistical, and maybe he's been like that since day one. Because when he was 12 years old, he was actually arrested for hijacking a bus, which when I was 12, I was so shy, I was so scared of the world, I can't imagine hijacking a bus. Simon Cowell has recalled his wild behavior when he was a preteen, including being arrested for hijacking a bus while also smoking and drinking from the age of 8. He has a young son, and he claims that he was so bad when he was Eric's age, "I was a nightmare. I was drinking and smoking at 8, and once I nearly burnt the house down." Simon explained that when he almost burnt his house down, he was trying to explain to his brother that Santa Claus wasn't real, so he found a costume, Santa's beard, and lit it on fire. Sounds a little psychopathic. However, when he lit the beard on fire, he dropped it on the sofa, causing the whole room to catch on fire. Simon has 3 brothers, and he revealed that the eldest sibling caught wind of the smoke and called the firefighters. That wasn't the peak of his bad behavior, because he went on to hijack a bus with a pea gun at the age of 12. He said, "I thought it wouldn't be taken seriously, but the driver called the police and I was arrested. I remember going back home and my mom was furious. I was so bad, slightly living on the edge."
Is it a sigh or a lie that you hijacked a bus at the age of 12? You're joking.
Yeah, and you know where it was? Well, it was a joke. I thought I put a gun to... I shouldn't even say.
What?
It was a pretend gun, and we said to the bus driver, "Take us to Watford." And he literally did not stop from Rutledge to Watford. And I was in Watford the other day with Raksu, and I told them this story. The last time I went to bloody Watford, I was actually thrown in jail.
The psychology major in me says that Simon went through some type of trauma which made him act out so badly. And at one point he does share that he was harmed at a young age. He was put in situations when he was younger which he shouldn't have ever been exposed to. Simon Cowell has broken his silence on the ongoing Hollywood sex scandal, claiming that he was put in situations when he was younger. Simon said the entertainment industry is not a nice business and that he hopes that those involved will get what they deserve. He says, "Look, I have grown up in the music business. Even as a kid, I was put in situations when I was first working, you know, it's not a very nice business." He continued, "I do think there will be change. Actually, to be honest with you, people get what they deserve. That's all I'm going to say." And he really doesn't detail any of the allegations or what he could have possibly gone through. So there's a lot to Simon Cowell, probably a lot from his past, which explains why he's such a hard and emotionalist person nowadays. But I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you in a new video soon. Should we open a P.O. Box package item? Let's open one. Okay, so it looks like this one is from Sammy Jones, and they are in Pennsylvania. Ooh, so I haven't been opening packages lately because one of them recently exploded on everything else, and it was just like a really bad mess. But I'm going to be opening packages again. Here's a letter from Sammy Jones. Hi Sloan, hope all is well. I've been watching your channel for a very long time now because your content is so engaging and informative. I think what you do is so important for the community, especially when speaking about the safety of children. The world needs more people like you. Aw, I'm not sure if you're a fantasy reader, but I published a book, an alternate world fantasy novel, Dark Woods. I've included a hardcover and paperback so you can keep a copy and give one to a friend. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. Let's go ahead and look at this book. Let's go ahead and check out the hard copy. We love a good hard copy book. I've actually been wanting to read more because I don't read enough, and I want to try to take more trips and such, so I will definitely go and check this out. Look at the cover. Spooky. I like dark things too, so this is totally a vibe. Oh, look, there's like little like bookmarks in here. So sweet. Oh, here's a card. Okay. Cute. I love when we can like see your face. Oh, there we go. Well, thank you so much for sending this to me. I can't wait to check it out. And if you guys want to go and check out her book, I will list it below. And until next time, I'll see you guys in a new video soon. Bye, guys.